IRLTV has been in attendance at the Women's Convention at Cobo Center this weekend, and we have immersed ourselves in workshops as well as all kinds of activities here. We had the opportunity to attend the Sojourner Truth luncheon honoring Congresswoman Maxine Waters. There were several workshops, including those about immigration, violence against women, media, and self-care. This has been a monumental event, and IRLTV has covered it on @Superwoman Brand and @Superwoman Media on Twitter, as well as Superwoman Productions and Publishing's Facebook page and SWPP Media on Instagram. So make sure you follow those outlets. We will also have more video content available for you very soon at IRLTV.tv. Check it out.
Man, I love these days, the brighter ones. Gotta be conscious of the darkness where it started from, and work extra hard. Keep faith in God. The star don't make the light is what creates a star. Shine inside, I shake inside. Namaste, Amen Ra, Alhamdulillah.
But what's all this here talking about? That man over there says that women need to be helped in the carriages and lifted over ditches and have the best place everywhere. Well, nobody helps me into carriages or over mud puddles or give me any best place. And ain't I a woman?
So I just wanted to start this conversation. You know, women's voices have been some of the loudest in both calling for reform on both sides of the aisle, holding the Trump administration to account for its problematic, if I'm being kind, policies and rhetoric, whether that's marching on inauguration weekend, whether that is rallying against immigration bans, speaking out against the attempts to curtail women's reproductive rights, dismantle the Affordable Care Act, and just generally calling the president out on his, at times, misogynistic, ill-informed of rhetoric that, you know, a lot of this country is hearing as the truth. And I think in this political climate, women's voices have been some of the fiercest and loudest in this fight.
Good morning, everyone. I love seeing all your faces. The revolution is in this room. I'm so excited. My name is Natasha Alford. I am the deputy editor of theBrio.com. We're a digital news community dedicated to telling stories that impact the African American community, politics, entertainment. So there's representation in the question of who's in the room, who's telling the stories, who actually pitches. Right? That shapes how something is covered. But I also, I really want to shout out Team Vote, because even though I don't work there, some of the stories that they have chosen to cover have just been so woke, have really shaped things up. It's gone beyond like makeup and like lipstick and all things that I used to read about when I was 13, and it's about like how to be sexually empowered, and you know, I've just seen headlines that have really tackled issues of race and gender, and I think that's great. Elle is another magazine. Maddie Kahn did a piece about Flint and focused on a black woman, and even though she's not a black woman, she told that story with such compassion and empathy and like attention to detail.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. It's great listening to the other panelists. I think I'm like one that's non-traditional, because I never did bar news or covered it or anything like that. I came kind of to the media world. I did politics for 10, 15 years. I worked in the Obama administration, worked on both Obama's presidential campaign, and I've worked on like 4 total presidential campaigns. So I've done politics statewide, locally, nationally. That if you're not white, male, and straight, this administration is after you. The policies are coming after all of us. And so it's been pretty daunting the past 10 months, because I always thought, oh yeah, it's going to be bad, but I never thought it was going to be this bad.
We have to bring more ideas into the fold. We have to raise the voices of the women who are having different experiences, women who are not white, women who are not cisgender. I think intersectionality is something that we're talking about more today, and I think it's something that larger women's outlets are holding themselves to a higher standard these days in terms of representation, in terms of what their hiring practices look like. But I also think we have room. We have a lot of space for improvement there. in terms of the kinds of voices that we bring to the table.
I have privilege, and I use my microphone as much as I can to create a space for others to share their stories. And I try very hard to do so. And if I'm not doing it, I listen to my audience, they'll pitch me things, and they'll say, you know, that's a great idea, I'm going to pitch it to my editor. I try to do my best. So for independent journalists, if you're in your community and you are interested in being a journalist, you want to share stories, you know, what's that matter? It's really easy. And it's really powerful. And even if it's just, you know, your Facebook friends and only 50 people see it, those are 50 people that heard stories that maybe not heard before.
This is Kevin Hughes at the Women's Convention, Detroit, Michigan. This has been a phenomenal event. I mean, women from all across the country, over 3,000 women have come here to collectively unify on issues concerning them. Women of all major colors, creeds, nationalities, religions, all of them are unified because they stand for women. Their embodiment, their encompassing of issues that concern them and how they can empower and grow together. And tune in on IRLTV. And stay tuned for more.
Good to see all of you. Have you all enjoyed this conference? Have you all learned something while being at this conference? Did you meet a new friend at this conference? Did you cry? I cried. So did you cry at this conference? That's a good conference. That's a good one.
There's a lot of you that have come up to us, and we thank you for sharing with us how inspirational this convention has been and so much of what you have learned. But also some of you have shared with us that there are people that are missing. So where we go from here is to ensure that as we say we are centering the most marginalized, that we actually bring them to be part of the decision-making process.
So if we're really going to have tangible solutions, making a policy-based difference, ensuring our policy priorities, whether it's voting rights or mass incarceration, criminal justice reform, education parity, making sure that our kids can eat. Carmen just talked about fighting against the war on children. We need to ensure that there are legislators who think like us and look like us, people of color, who are representing our interests and carrying those interests out.
Good afternoon.
It's all right, you can be bold in this space. We good.
I was looking for a couple of the fellas in the audience to at least give me a rule or something. Voter suppression shows up when it makes it hard for students to change their address to vote on college campuses and make it get all the way back home. Voter suppression shows up when public policy over-incarcerates Americans and then on the flip end disenfranchises you to vote. If we love this country to the degree that we say we do, let's make voting the easiest thing possible to do.
On November 9th, when I woke up, I was not aware of my complicity in a white supremacist system of structural racism, of structural sexism. I did not know that my entire life I had been putting people down and oppressing them simply by being white. And so I think over the last, thank you.
Las mujeres por muchos años hemos sido víctimas de acoso, de asalto sexual. No solamente trabajadoras en oficinas, no solamente trabajadores en las escuelas, no solamente mujeres que estudian en las universidades, en los restaurantes. Las mujeres del campo, el 80% somos víctimas de asalto o de acoso sexual.
So for decades, farm worker women have been facing different forms of sexual harassment, sexual assault. And we know that these aren't problems that are only faced by women who work in schools or women who study at university or women who are in the restaurant industries or work in offices, but that these are problems that women face everywhere. And it's actually 80% of farm worker women who will experience some form of sexual violence. For so long, women have worked without any protections, and sexual harassment was just something daily that women had to deal with, no matter what. And this is something that they could experience from a supervisor, from a crew leader, or from a fellow worker. Basically, men who are able to take advantage of the power that they can demonstrate over women in the fields. And women didn't report these kinds of abuses, and that's because they were left without any other option. They knew that if they said anything, that their jobs were at risk, and women have families to feed, and so they had to put up with these kinds of instances, because otherwise, by the time they went to work the next day, they knew that they wouldn't have a job to go to.
I saw that we had a couple people here raise their hand saying that they were aware of the Wendy's boycott. Was that correct? Could any of you tell me a little bit about the boycott and what you know about it?
They're not joining the Fair Food Pact that the CIW and the SFA have created, and instead of joining, they have actually left Florida and decided to outsource to Mexico. And they also believe that, the farm workers are not actually associated or should be a part or are employees of Wendy's. So basically completely separating themselves from farm workers in general.
So currently the CIW along with the Alliance for Fair Food has officially taken on the national boycott, which we proposed in spring of 2014. And so basically what we're asking allies and our network to do is to not go to Wendy's, but to also take action. So this can be seen in multiple ways, such as doing a letter delegation, doing hashtag Wendy's on your campus, boycott Wendy's on your campuses, and informing your friends, your family on the reasons why you should not be going to Wendy's due to the fact that they have, like you said, stopped purchasing from Florida altogether, and now is purchasing from farms in Mexico that has even worse conditions than we do in the States.
Hi, this is Lacretia with IRLTV at the Women's Convention powered by the Women's March. And what we had a chance to cover, one of the workshops that I personally had a chance to cover, was the Planned Parenthood Reclaiming Our Time and Bodies. And one of the featured panelists was Lori Carpenter, who was the CEO of Planned Parenthood Advocate.
I am Lori Carpentier, the President and CEO of Planned Parenthood of Michigan. With all that's been out there, we want to review for a minute what Planned Parenthood actually believes. We believe that sexual and reproductive health rights are very basic human rights. We believe that access to health care shouldn't depend on who you are or where you live, and that every person should have the opportunity to choose their own path to a healthy, meaningful life. We're unwavering in these beliefs and tireless in our efforts.
And this particular workshop was very empowering, it's very powerful. It did give the attendees a chance to lean into what they knew about Planned Parenthood, and also learn some actual great things about what they could do next as far as getting involved with the movement.
Reproductive justice is about power. It is about transforming power, and the way we do that is through organizing and community building. Our mission is to build Latina power to advance health, dignity, and justice for ourselves, for our families, and for our communities.
When you go to the pharmacy and you get birth control and it says 0, you don't have to pay anything, that's because of the Affordable Care Act, and this administration is trying to take that away.
The ACLU will continue to be at the forefront of those cases to raise the consciousness and raise the ability of the people who are truly affected by these laws to rise up and lead this next kind of assault on a government that does not respect women and respect reproductive rights.
Everything we do falls under one of three categories at least. Increasing our power, right? Building our organization, number one. Number two, holding the opponents of abortion accountable for the harm that they are causing around this country. And number three, giving abortion a permanent seat at the progressive table.
They did give some links for everybody to get involved, and I think that one of the great things about learning with this particular workshop is, you know, everybody has their own acclamation about what it means to Planned Parenthood and how it doesn't really mesh well with the public, what they do know and what they don't know. So I think it was a great learning opportunity for everybody involved. Make sure you tune in to IRLTV.tv to catch further episodes. And again, we're at the Women's Convention powered by the Women's Power Movement.
always haters, and I say to any of the haters, if you're not putting in the work, all you're doing is talking and tweeting. If you put in the work, then you don't have time to always talk and tweet. So some folk may want to stop hating and put the work in. I'm sorry, let me preach that thing. Go ahead, Michaela.
If you center women of color, then we bring everybody with us, right? So if you center, and I'm talking to the DNC, y'all listen. Y'all better learn. If you center women of color, we bring everyone with us. I'm practicing how to be in solidarity with, you know, women who just got here, right? And how can we not attack them, because y'all should know, but and let them learn from us, but y'all better learn quick, is what we're saying.
Sometimes you laugh, and sometimes you just cry. Life never tells us all the ways are wise. When you got friends who wish you well, you'll find your one way. You will exhale, yeah. Say, you in January, we came together, women from all over the country and all around the world, to say with one voice, we're here, we're united, and we are going to be heard. But now, it is the time to be smart and take that energy and passion we had in January and turn it into action with results. Since January, women in this room and thousands more across the country have been strategizing, planning, educating, and mobilizing for progress. We're going to keep marching forward because our values are on the line. The United States of America's got nothing to be proud of. We still have a significant problem. So, it starts with us in the room. Just as the women who came before us knocked down doors, set precedents, and raised consciousness, we too have a responsibility to our daughters and our granddaughters and young women everywhere to not be complacent.
So I'm gonna give y'all some receipts, right? I'm not gonna do the whole thing because y'all know who she is, but I just want to set the ground with some receipts, okay? So, 37 years public servant, Congressional Black Caucus, ranking member of the financial services. Sometimes we gotta put some receipts on the table. Public advocate, my neighbor. She said we don't need that, but I like receipts. Just so y'all know, she didn't just get here. Landmark affirmative action legislation, nation's first statewide child abuse prevention training program. Listen, the prohibition of police strip searches for nonviolent misdemeanors. Auntie, it's your time. Let's give it up.
Are you feeling strong? Are you feeling confident? Are you feeling powerful? So let's send a message to those who try and divide us. You just go
great message from here today. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. But I can't tell you how thrilled I am to be here in Detroit, Michigan, to once again tell the world that the women in this country are reclaiming our time. We're reclaiming our time. At the top of our agenda, at this convention, there must be an effort to strengthen women's courage and inspire them to continue to come forward and reveal the abuses that they have silently endured. This convention must be designed as a declaration that women are unified and that we support one another in this fight. Whether you're black, white, green, yellow, whatever, rich or poor, young or old, let the word go forward this day that the women at this convention and all across the country have had enough. Enough is enough. We don't care who you are, how much money you have, how powerful you are, and how you think you are powerful. Keep your nasty comments away from us. Keep your tricks and your lies to yourself. And keep your hands off our backs and our goddamn bodies. Donald Trump is the most dishonorable and despicable human being to ever serve in the office of the presidency. This is a man with no good values, no good intentions, and no respect. That's why I know we must keep fighting, and that women must lead this resistance. We cannot afford to be shut down or to be shut up by any man, particularly not one as indecent and deplorable as Donald Trump. This is a president who can call everybody a name except Putin in Russia. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about America. They don't care about our democracy. It's about the dollar. It's about the money. And so, keep up the resistance. Provide the leadership. Take our rightful places in this country. Exercise influence. Let them know we're not going anywhere and we're not afraid of them. This is our country and we intend to make it the democracy that it purports to be. And if we really want to do it right, if we really want to send that message, if we really want to show them our strength, join with me. Let's impeach 45.
So Detroit, I also want to lift up the fact that Detroit was Rosa Parks' home after she left Montgomery, Alabama. And I had the privilege of being with her for 33 years. And in that time, one of the things that I want to lift up about Detroit is that she was very dedicated to this city. But when she was arrested, the lesson that I carry forth all the time, and I think is very appropriate in this audience, when she was approached to be arrested, the policeman said they were going to arrest her because she did not give up her seat. And she looked at them and she said, you may do so, in a soft voice. So she gave them permission to arrest her. That